We are going to be talking about the fastest way to migrate to Australia. No English test required if you studied in English. For sure, I would like to tell you that this is the fastest way to migrate to Australia. Before we go into this way, the method that I'm going to talk about today, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Australia, just for you to know what Australia is and what Australia stands for you to know the beautiful things that that you stand to gain in coming to Australia. The first thing I'm going to talk about first is why migrate to Australia. Why do you even want to migrate to Australia? Why thinking of migrating to Australia? Why would you want to migrate to Australia? First thing I'm going to talk about here is that Australia is a very beautiful country. Those that has been to Australia before can testify of the fact that Australia is beautiful. There are a lot of tourist attraction sites in Australia. In fact, tourists spend their money coming to Australia to look at the beautiful beaches, the beautiful places, a lot of sights to see in Australia. Australia is a very good country. So I believe that is one of the reasons why one would want to migrate to Australia. Another reason is low crime rate. For you to be in a country that you hardly hear gunshots, you hardly hear of violence, compared to other developed countries, the crime rate in Australia is very, very low. You could leave home, go out at night, and be sure of getting back home the next day. Your kids could leave home, go out, and be sure of coming back home. Crime rate is very, very low in Australia. Another thing is good quality of life. In Australia, you have good quality of life. And what are the indices for good quality of life? The indices here would be wealth. Most people in Australia are like middle class. So in terms of wealth, another one is employment rate. The unemployment rate in Australia is very, very low. So that is also something very good. Another thing is the environment. We have a lot of nature, a lot of trees, a lot of natural things. The environment is very, very good. The environment is also habitable. We have less pollution. We have good quality of life in Australia. Other things to look at under quality of life is the educational system. Australia universities are among the top in the world. Australia have up to 10 universities among the 100 best universities in the world. So if you're in Australia, if you are to study, or if your kids are to study, they are sure of going to one of the best universities in the world. Another thing again under quality of life is also safety and security. If you're in a country that there's no safety, there's no security, then what are you there for? That means you are in a country that one could die at any time. Man, it's not worth it. But in Australia, these things are very, very low. Crime rate is low. Safety and security is very, very good. It's high in Australia. Then another thing that I will talk about in Australia, as I said earlier, is the educational system. Australia have very good educational system. Australia's universities are among the top best. Graduates from Australia universities get jobs in many parts of the world. You could get jobs from all over the world if you study in Australia, And also Australia is a major contributor to global research. I made a video before on the educational standard of Australia, why you should migrate to Australia to study. I'm going to leave the link to that video in my description box, so please check it out. In that video, I talked about 4 major reasons why you should study in Australia. And one of the reasons that I gave is because of the quality of education, the good quality universities, and that Australia is also one of a major contributor to global research. So please check it out. I'm going to leave it in the description box. So you're going to stand to gain all these things. when you come to Australia. Another thing also is that unemployment rate is very low. So that means when you are coming to Australia, you're going to get job. Presently, I would like to tell you that Australia needs highly skilled workers, because as I said earlier that the unemployment rate is very low. The unemployment rate that was released last was 3.9%, which is the lowest Australia has come to since the 1970s. This is one of the lowest, 3.9%. That is very low. So Australia really needs highly skilled workers. So if you are highly skilled and you have your way of coming to Australia, be sure of getting a job within a short period of time. Be sure of getting your visa approved if you're a highly skilled worker, So Australia needs you. Australia really needs you. Three major ways of coming to Australia. Among all the ways, there are a lot of ways, but these three are the major ways, the major legal way in which you could come into Australia. The first way is to study. So many international students come into Australia to study. Many of them finish in Australia and get jobs in different parts of the world, in different countries of the world. They get jobs and they migrate to those countries to start their life. While some finish in Australia and go back to their own country to get job, some other set of people finish studying, they get job in Australia, they apply for post-study work visa, because after studying in Australia, you are entitled to a post-study work visa, which ranges from 2 years to 4 years. So many people apply for this visa, they remain in Australia and they work. And after 2 years, some of them might fall in love with Australia. In fact, many people fall in love with Australia and they decide to spend the rest of their life in Australia. So what they do is that they go ahead to apply for one of the migration program to become a permanent resident of Australia, and they later go ahead to become a citizen of Australia. So the first legal means is study. Another main means of coming to Australia is through humanitarian programs for refugees. So many people that in different countries that are facing persecution, some are facing war, many of them come into Australia and apply for this humanitarian visa. And if they are deemed qualified for the visa, many of them are granted and are given permission or given the leverage to stay permanently in Australia under this visa. Then the third method and the major method that I'm going to talk about, this method is going to lead to the main topic of the day that I want to talk about. This method is migration program for skilled and family migrants. So for family migrants, like if you are a spouse of an Australian citizen, you could apply to migrate to Australia and come into Australia. If your visa is approved, you're going to come into Australia to live permanently in Australia. Another method is migration program for skilled workers. This migration program for skilled workers allows foreigners who are qualified and experienced in the required profession to migrate to Australia. So many of these people, if you are qualified, you could actually migrate to Australia and stay permanently in Australia. There are lots of these migration programs. We have the Visa 189, which is the Federal Skilled Worker Visa. We have the 190, we have the Regional Skilled, we have a lot of these visas. But the one that I'm going to talk about today, which is the fastest way of coming to Australia permanently, is through the Global Talent Program. So that is it. It's through the Global Talent Program. This Global Talent Program, as I said earlier, is one of the best and fastest way to come into Australia. I heard of someone that his expression of interest was approved and he was invited to apply within 1 day of submitting the expression of interest. That tells you how fast this visa is. Just 1 day. You might want to ask that, what is Global Talent Visa Program? So I put a screenshot here. This screenshot could be found in the website, in the Home Affairs website. I'm going to leave the link to this website in my description box. So please check it out if you feel you are qualified to apply and if you want to apply for this visa. Global Talent Visa is a streamlined visa pathway. It is for highly skilled professionals to work and live permanently in Australia. So if you know you are highly skilled in your profession, I'm going to go to the profession. We have 10 lists of target areas that Australia is searching for people for. That the target area, I'm going to come to that later in this. If you know you are highly skilled in this area, then go ahead and apply for the Global Talent Visa. There is high chance of you being granted if you do everything right. Australia needs highly skilled workers in this area. And now, what is the eligibility? We just have two major eligibility. The first eligibility is highly skilled in one of the 10 target sectors. I'm going to talk about the 10 target sectors in the next slide. You just have to be highly skilled in this 10 target sector. That's all. The second one is you should be able to attract a salary that meets the high income threshold in Australia. So this high income threshold for the last financial year was 158,500. 158,500. So you may not be receiving up to this income back home in where you are, but you should just portray yourself as someone that can attract this kind of salary when you arrive Australia. And how are you going to do this? You're going to do this by showing documents. So you just have to show your documents to show that, yes, I am well qualified in my field. And when I come to Australia, I can attract this kind of salary. So what are the target sectors? These are target sectors. The target sectors are resources, they are agri-food, they are energy, health industry, defense, circular economy, digital, tech, infrastructure, and tourism. These sectors are 10. A link is in the description box to this, where you're going to find this sector. If you go to my description box and check it, you are going to see all the 10 sectors. You will be able to read about them to see if you are qualified. You just need to be in this sector and be highly skilled, like for agri-food and for agri-tech. If you are a researcher in agriculture, like a senior researcher with a lot of publications, with a lot of projects done, you just have to show that, yes, you have publication, you've done some kind of project, that you are highly skilled, you just have to show this. It's highly documentation required. You need a lot of documents. You need to show documents. You need to show proof that you are highly skilled. If you can show the Home Affairs proof, then your visa will definitely be granted. For this application also, you don't have to write English test if you study in English. You just need to have functional English to be able to apply for this. This shows how simple this system is. Global Talent Visa is very easy and straightforward. You don't have to write an English test. You just have to have functional English. And to have functional English, you need to have completed a degree, a higher degree, a diploma, or a trade certificate in an institution in or outside Australia that requires at least 2 years of full-time study, and that all instructions were in English. Also, if you are a resident or if you have a passport, a valid passport of the United Kingdom, of New Zealand, of Canada, of Ireland, also you have functional in English. And also, if you have graduated from an institution, might be if you've done your primary school, if you've done your secondary school, where all instruction was in English, whether in Australia or outside Australia, you can also apply. Also, this could serve as your English language. This is functional English also. Also, if you finish a secondary school in or outside Australia where all instruction was in English for at least 5 years of studies, then this can be functional English. So there are a lot of it. And if you don't have all this, if you write an English test, you just need an average of 4.5 in all bands in your IELTS. So if you write your IELTS or IELTS as they call it, you just need to have 4.5 in all bands. How can you apply? The application process is very, very easy and straightforward. The first thing that you are going to do, the first step is that you submit an expression of interest. And that expression of interest is on the website. In my description, I'm going to leave the link to the website. So just jump there. Everything is there. Check everything out, read everything. If you are qualified, what you need to do is to gather your documents. It might take a week to gather all your documents. Then you jump onto the website and you submit an expression of interest. In the expression of interest, you're going to submit a passport. You're going to submit your employment evidence to show your employment status. You're going to submit your income to show how much you earn. You're going to submit your qualification, your bachelor's, your PhD, your master's. Then any internationally recognized award, anything to show that you are highly relevant in your field, your publications, whatever you have, you're going to submit them also. The only clause here which was recently added, it wasn't there when this program started, it was recently added, is that you have to be nominated by someone or by an organization in Australia. This person or the organization must be someone in your field. So it's just for this person to just look at your profile and then endorse you that yes, this person is qualified. And how can you do this? Some people does this by going online, searching for people. They send their resume, their profile, and every evidence to them, and explain to them and tell them that they want to apply for Global Talent Visa, and they are wondering if they could nominate them. If you send message to 10 people, 15 people, 20 people, at least one is going to respond and say yes. If you are a plant breeder, if you are into medicine, like research in medicine, you go and search for people in your field, send a message to them, send your profile to them also. You know, your profile is definitely going to be online if you are a scientist, you know. So send your profile to them, let them check you out, tell them where you work, and explain to them that you would want to apply for the Australian Global Talent Visa and you would want if they could nominate you. So if those people look at your profile and they say that yes, you are qualified, or yes, you really are into that field, at least one would nominate you if you contact many people. So that is how to go about this. The first step is to submit an expression of interest. This step is very simple, but it requires a lot of documents because you have to prove that you are qualified, that you are highly skilled. So you need to be very alert when you are filling this form. Very alert, fill everything, provide every information, and then apply. Someone asked the question says, I'm just checking it out. The person says that, are you going to pay for this expression of interest? No, it's totally free. It's free. What you just need to do is go online, submit your expression of interest. That's all. You don't have to pay. It's if you are qualified, the Home Affairs Office is going to send you a message inviting you to apply for the visa. That is if they find you qualified. And that leads me to the next step. The next step is apply for a visa. So once you are qualified, the Home Affairs would contact you. And once they invite you to apply, you are like pretty much sure that you're going to get the visa because they've already seen you as being qualified as someone that they want. In that case, that is when you are going to pay. some money to apply. So you jump into the website and then you apply, submit every required document, and just wait for them to assess you. And yeah, that's all. As simple as that. The global talent visa is very straightforward. I heard of someone that applied for this global talent visa. The person has been trying to come to Australia. The person was trying the general migration visa, visa 189. The person has applied, waiting. He has waited for some months. Later, the person tried to contact some organizations in Australia if he could get to work in Australia, then come to work in Australia. After some time, the guy was on that before the guy heard of this global talent visa. The guy is highly skilled in his field. He is a scientist, so he has done a lot of research work. He has handled many projects. The guy heard about this visa. The guy jumped into the application. The guy gathered all the documents. He submitted an expression of interest. The guy went to sleep. When the guy woke up the next morning, when the guy checked his email, like later in the morning, the guy discovered that he has been invited to apply. It took him just less than 24 hours to get an invitation to apply. Although that guy case is exceptional. Majority of the people I've seen, they spend up to like 4 weeks, like 3 weeks to 4 weeks to 5 weeks in getting an invitation. But this guy case is exceptional. Maybe because the guy is highly qualified in his field. And in Australia, maybe his field, they don't get many people that applied, in his field. So the guy application just went on top. So this is one of the fastest way to come to Australia. You don't need to spend money in showing expression of interest. You just jump into the website, read everything. I'm going to leave a link in the description box. You could also read for that and check the Home Affairs website, read for that, and then jump into the application. Australia is a very beautiful country, and you're going to love Australia. Sincerely speaking, you're going to love Australia when you come to Australia because quality of life is very, very good. I've come to the end of this presentation. I want to say a very big thank you for your time. I know you have many things to do, you have a lot of things to do, but you chose to stick around with me here today. Thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel. It helps us to grow. It motivates me also to keep on doing what I'm doing. Please subscribe, please like, please share so that other people would see this and also learn also. We shouldn't hide information. So let's share, and please leave your comment. If you have any question, leave it in the comment box. I'm going to do well to answer the questions. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much. See you in the next video. Bye.